Good morning. And it's a very special day for us here at the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute. July 26th, 2012 was our date of incorporation. And so today makes us 12 years old. And what an absolutely incredible journey it has been. I have posted just a few weeks ago. I love working at this institute so much. And I believe that in 12 years, the institute has been able to accomplish a lot to build its presence in the region and is already certainly making a difference towards improving corporate governance practices in our Caribbean region. Today for Governance Live, we have a very, very special guest. Not only is he the current chairman of the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute, but Mr. Nigel Romano was among the visionaries who first conceptualized and founded this institute. So it is with great pleasure that I welcome Nigel to Governance Live this morning as we really celebrate our 12th anniversary, a time for reflection on all that led to this point and possibly even to look at the future, where we go from here. Nigel, welcome to Governance Live.
Thank you, Kamla, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's hard to believe that we are already 12 years old. I mean, I think we're still growing, so I suppose that's a good thing. Um, Back in 2012, I think the catalyst, and I have to give him credit, was Axel Kravatsky. And I think he was the real visionary, and he just brought us along. But it was a noble reason to promote world-class transparency and competitiveness for companies in the CARICOM region through, of course, the promotion of good corporate governance practices and, of course, the education programs, the guidelines, the networking, the linkages, you name it. I think one of the significant things that we accomplished, and we are now in the process of reviewing it and revamping it, is the Caribbean Corporate Governance Code, and that for me is a very very important document. And then when you think about that in the context of ISO 37000, which of course focuses on good governance and the importance of purpose and values and that sort of thing. I think it's what the institute has accomplished is is quite amazing, quite frankly. And I want to thank you because as from where I sit, you are the reason. You are the reason that the institute continues to exist and to grow. And I really want to thank you for that. I also want to thank people like, well, I mentioned Axel, but also Ronnie Becessa, who has served as chairman, and one of the directors from Barbados, who I will single out, is of course Marlon Yard, who was with us for a long time, and of course our own Faye Lopez Colimo. I'd also like, in addition to yourself, mention two of the CEOs who I had a pleasure of working with. One was Alex Coven, who was out of Canada, and when she returned to Canada, of course, she demitted office, and Denise Dionarine, who I think was your predecessor.
Yes.
But we have to thank those people for the hard work they put in, the dedication they showed, and I want to really reach out to them and let them know that we appreciate what they have done, and we continue to learn and grow. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Nigel. And I agree with you. Although I have been the CEO for the last 5 years, and I'm proud of what we have accomplished in the last 5 years, I have to acknowledge that we had a very strong foundation. And so
Mhm.
the work that Axel and his team would have done in the first year in particular, I mean, we have a beautiful logo. I absolutely love it, you know, and there's so much that I have felt that we could have left untouched because there was such thought that went into the conceptualizing of all of it. So, as you mentioned, Axel Kravitsky, so he was the founding chairman of the institute, and we could also mention the other founding directors. We had Dr. Annette Rahal, Leslie Clark. So it was Dr. Annette, Leslie, yourself, and Ronnie Bisassa, now Ronnie Bisassa Senior Counsel, who were that first circle of directors to form this institute. So
Mhm.
it would be your names that are included in the incorporation document, which is so awesome. And I agree. Axel is quite a visionary, and I know he has very high standards in all that he does. And so when he would have worked with the team to lay down the foundation for what CCGI is, even as you look at the bylaws and the policy documents and so that were created in that initial year, it really gave us a very strong foundation. So you
Mhm.
mentioned as well some of the other directors who have contributed. I mean, as with any non-governmental organization, any non-profit organization, we would have had challenges over the years, but the success of the Institute today really rests a great extent on all the work that went before. So like you, I also want to acknowledge Denise Deonarine and the real work she would have put into in contributing to the growth of the institute while she was there. And of course, as you say, the Trinidad and Tobago Corporate Governance Code.
Mhm.
That was a significant milestone, and I'm happy that Ronnie Bisassa is currently serving as chair of the working committee, and that code should be reviewed and be ready for publication this year. So we'll have a 2024 Trinidad and Tobago Corporate Governance Code.
Yep. I think the other thing that I want to highlight is the work that you have been spearheading, connecting to institutes across the globe. And we had the conference yesterday on the small states and how we get small states to work together. But I believe that connecting with those governance institutes and promoting good governance, promoting transparency, ensuring that organizations understand and stay true to their purpose, adding value for their customers is very, very critical. I mean, I thought yesterday's conference was quite enlightening with Dr. Is it Fiole or
Yeah,
Fiola
Agofio.
out of Switzerland?
Yes.
And again he shared the stuff he shared and the material he shared
Mhm.
um was was very, very thought provoking and very invaluable. So again, for me, this collaboration, this global collaboration with a focus on the small states is another huge initiative. And then, of course, our contribution to the work that is being done in the ESG space, but more on the climate stuff, the crime situation, and that kind of stuff is going to be critical going forward. I think we can make a real difference
I
there.
believe so too. As you mentioned, the Governance of Small States conference yesterday, though, and our collaboration with global institutes, there's no way we could not now also mention our beloved global ambassador, Professor
Well,
Bob Garrett.
yep, he is. I mean, he has been a real catalyst
That's right.
for these collaborative efforts, and he is so gracious. He's so accommodating. I
Yes.
mean, He is up. We have him up all hours of the day and night, and he is never complains and is always very, very supportive and there to help us
Yes.
and to help us to make the connection. I think no, we owe him. I do think that debt is payable.
I agree. I agree. What he has done for us is truly invaluable. And so we look forward to having him later this year when we go to Guyana to host
Mhm.
our governance dinner and end of year event when he will be serving as our opening keynote. It was a pity he wasn't able to make it to Trinidad and Tobago when we hosted our 10th anniversary gala.
Yes.
That was the plan, but because of different challenges he faced, he was not
Mhm.
able to make it at the last minute. But we are hopeful because, as you say, he has embraced this region. He has given us so much enlightenment and all his years of experience and those connections he's made. I can trace every single collaboration we've made globally in some way to what he did because just having Charlotte Valère, the former chair of the IOD of the UK, as spearheading this effort with us yesterday. He introduced us to Charlotte. He
Mhm.
introduced us to the Governance Institute out in the Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
And Dr. Wada
Dubai.
yesterday,
Yeah.
yes, was so good as well. So if we were to sit and even connect all the many persons that, including Professor Mervyn King, the world's
Mhm.
authority on corporate governance, who has, served as our opening keynote for one of our Governance Week segments as well. So truly, I agree with you. Our debt to Professor Garrett is unpayable.
Hmm. Yep. That is a huge, huge asset that we have.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned that, we are connecting global institutions, but I also wanted to acknowledge that within the region as well, it's important for us to work together. And so I'm happy to share that CCGI is members not just of organizations here in Trinidad and Tobago, because we are members of the chamber. We are that's both the Energy Chamber and the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber. We are members of the Human Resource Management Association. We also recently applied for membership, and it will be coming through next week with the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association. We are also members of the Barbados International Business Association and the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. So we need to continue to build those kinds of regional collaborations as well to ensure that we are truly understanding our own cultural needs and be able to address those concerns as well. So I'm happy that we have found a lot of like-minded people in the region who shared of that value of wanting to collaborate and build and grow together.
Yep.
And among those persons who truly have contributed as well as we look to celebrate our 12th anniversary today, is Dr. Terence Farrell. I
Mhm.
remember when I first joined as CEO of the Institute, we were in a position we had to rebuild. And Faye Lopez Colimo, as you mentioned, who was serving on the board at the time, she invited Dr. Farrell to meet with me so that we could plan a resurgence of the breakfast discussions and so that would have begin to build the visibility of CCGI. And Dr. Farrell has been so gracious with his time as well. He has contributed so much. I tell you, that is another case of where, it's invaluable. We couldn't put a price to the contribution he has done. I would share too, publicly, I want to acknowledge Claire Gomez Miller. Claire, over the last few years, has taken the time to provide guidance and support and also to connect us with a lot of persons within the region to ensure that we are building the right kind of strength that when the Institute grows, it will do so in a way that is very inclusive. And that is
Mhm.
something that I truly appreciate. And it helps me enjoy the work I do as well, because it means there isn't a fight for territory. You know, if I may take it into the business sphere, you know, a lot of people get caught up in the Red Sea, but because we are collaborating, I think we have found a blue ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And that blue ocean has enabled us to propel CCGI to a point where we've been getting requests for membership without going out to seek it. And that
Mm.
for me was, yeah, truly uh, a validation of the work that we have been doing.
No, I agree 100%. I think the quality of the content, the the experience and the expertise of the panelists, and the fact that we are getting these people to join us and have some um, really in-depth conversation is what is attracting people. I think the other thing is that good governance provides the foundation for continued and sustainable success.
Mhm.
And I think that message is getting across as well. Hopefully based on some of the work we are doing.
Yes.
Um, but you know, that's also part of the
So I would
the
say
goal.
that as CEO of the Institute for the last few years, a substantial difference I find with us as an NGO, because we are named the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute, the standards by which we need to function has to be a cut above. It
Mhm,
has to be that we aspire for the highest level standard. We have to function as though we are a listed organization. We have to ensure we have audited financials. We have to ensure we have our annual general meeting, that we are very transparent in what we do. And so model that behavior
mhm.
that we are encouraging other organizations to adopt.
No, we have to lead by example. We have to walk our talk, and to do otherwise would be unconscionable.
Yes. I have
That's,
to say, though, it hasn't been easy.
no, no, nobody
Yeah.
said it was.
There
Nobody
were
said it was.
times, yeah, when I felt, um, there were times when I felt overwhelmed, you know, that how do I do all of this when, and we continue to operate with a very small, lean team.
Small, lean, and very dedicated, very passionate, and very committed. So that's how you do it. You don't need an army. You need
Yes, yes.
a small
And
cadre of committed individuals
good. And that's why
under your guidance and leadership. So,
I appreciated the support of the board, particularly as at the last board meeting, we looked at the whole org structure for CCGI because we are at that point now of, of growth. We do
mhm,
now need to look at having brought the institute to this point where we have established ourselves as the governance institute in the region where you can come for trusted advice, and because we very often get requests for guidance from organizations, but also come in for the workshops and the training and all of that. We need to ensure that the next 12 years, years that we are going to build and grow so that we can truly have a great impact. And having the right organizational structure, recruiting the right employees, building just the right culture
mhm.
to be able to achieve that is also going to take a lot of work. And it's important that the board is able to contribute in providing that kind of direction, that kind of guidance, and that kind of support as well. So I was sharing yesterday before the start of our small states conference. You know, I was telling Charlottesville and I suppose especially coming out of our board meeting the night before, I felt so fortunate to be working with a really good board. And so I
We
have to
have,
thank
we,
you for your leadership, Nigel.
no, we have been very fortunate to have found you. I insist. Um, your leadership and your passion for governance is second to none. And and I have to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because without you, I don't think we would have been celebrating our 12th birthday.
It's been my pleasure. You know, I tell people that it's not been work for me at all because fully buy into the purpose of CCGI.
Mhm. Hmm.
We are here to make a difference. And you started saying it was a noble aspiration. And
Yep.
and it's something that truly um resonates with me. And I think it resonates with a lot of people as well. The work that we can do and the difference we can make in building a Caribbean region that we can be proud of.
Yep. Yep. So what's next?
So I guess
We have now started our 13th year. So we almost a teenager. What's next?
that's right. And so I imagine we will experience very similar tumultuous times in the same way we would have had growing pains as
Yep.
we started. Those tumultuous times would include us ensuring that um, as as your favorite author says, getting the right people on the bus.
Mhm.
Right. So you have shared you're guided by two very clear uh persons. So the first is Jim Collins with his whole take on leadership and moving organizations from good to great.
Mhm.
And the second is building trust. Stephen
Mhm.
Covey, you know,
Even
being proactive, ensuring that we reflect what it is we want to have. So
yep.
it will be a challenge. I mean, we setting up the right culture for CCGI as we now begin to have employees again. I think that is going to be a transition period that um, I hope will go well. I think at the moment we have some very good persons. Amelia Ragbear, who has been serving as my executive assistant in the last year, you know, truly is a very competent individual. It's been a really pleasure to work with her for the last year. And I appreciated the board approving an org structure, which is going to allow me to promote her because
Mhm.
I think she can make a really valuable contribution as well to the operations of CCGI moving forward. Laura Sinanan, who came in as a management trainee, Dana Marie Prasad, who is serving as a trainee as well. You know, both great potentials. We'd have to do a lot of training because these are very young persons who are new to many things in the workplace. But I believe that the right attitude is what we need. And once we have that, we can work through the rest. And along with them, we have some support from freelancers who help make the work of CCGI possible. You know, we have to acknowledge and thank Donnie Shah. Donnie has been responsible for ensuring that we manage our monies properly. So he does our bank recs, he prepares all of our accounts and, you know, liaises with the auditors and stuff. And I tell you, there's no way I would be able to do without Danny
Mm.
because he ensures that we pay our taxes and do all those things that are very necessary as well for our license to operate. And I also want to acknowledge Kyle Rampersad. Kyle was the very first young assistant that I had hired when when we did have money in CCGI to begin, and even before we had enough, you know, he was willing to come on and provide assistance. And Kyle continues to provide very strong support for us, serving as our graphic artist. So he, along with many other persons who bought into what this institute can do and who applied themselves to ensure that they can give their very best. You know, that is something that we can't not acknowledge, because I don't do this by myself.
Hmm. No, you don't. No, it has been a real pleasure. Really.
Yes, and if I may be allowed, Nigel, I also want to thank my children.
No, no, definitely.
Yeah, they were the slave labor.
Child labor, not slave. Child labor. Yeah. No. But I think they enjoyed what they were doing as well, helping you out. So
Yes,
you have to really be. It's a family effort.
yes,
Thank
and
God for them.
yes. And that is what happens for most NGOs. You know, you look
Yes.
for where you can find the resources and do things. And I'm so happy that there are children who have a great measure competence to share, and they've been very willing, and you know, they have provided that support for me to ensure that the institute is at this point now where we can go out and recruit staff and grow it from there.
Yep. What about some of the other outsiders who have been very supportive
So
besides Dr. Farrell?
apart from Dr. Farrell, so we've had Holik Rajkumar,
Mm-hmm.
who, you know, I think has been a supporter of the Institute since its inception, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and he has continued to rally behind us. And he was part of our speakers for Governance Week this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
So someone that I truly appreciate for what he does. And I'm sure that there are lots of others, but today persons that I want to acknowledge who I think um, are making amazing contributions and will continue to do so are persons among our board as well. Camille Facey.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Camille was a great find for us at
Definitely.
CCGI.
Yep. And then our Guyanese counterparts.
Yes, Robbie Rambaran,
Uh,
you know, who helps
uh,
ensure when we go to Guyana that we don't suffer too many losses, you know, because he really works hard first then. But Avia, Avia Maria Lindy, right? Yeah, Avia is someone who I can count on for looking at our social media and giving feedback. You know, so we have Warren Anderson, who just a few months ago began with us, and you immediately see the difference in our social media pages. Our LinkedIn now is just full of so much exciting stuff. And Avia had reached out to say to me, the you could see the campaign for Governance Week was really, really well done. So
mhm.
we thank both Avia, you know, as a director for looking on and giving feedback, and Warren too, for the work that he has done since he joined us, providing the social media support. So
Good.
and of course, so I guess we need to acknowledge our other directors. I mean, CCGI is lucky. We have directors from Jamaica, from Barbados, from Guyana, from here in Trinidad and Tobago. We do have Brendan King as well, who resides in Canada, but who has lived here for many years. And I look forward to the day when we'll also have a director from Belize, from the British Virgin Islands, from St. Lucia, you know, all these countries where we already have members and where we are growing our presence, because we really need to reflect that we are a Caribbean institute, and
Yep.
it's going to take a little time, but we're prepared to make the investment and face up to the challenges to ensure that the institute grows in a way that we truly respond to the actual needs in the region.
Yep. Definitely.
There would be a great amount of training, I guess we'll need to engage in over the next, I would say, give us a year or two to settle in all the new staff to um, really build out our operations, the SOPs, so that we can at any point in time uh, pivot. You know, we are building an agile organization. Should there be any other next global catastrophe, the organization should be there and ready to respond to the needs of directors, to be a place where they can come to, where we can network and gather to discuss how we can move forward again. And that I
Yep.
think is one of the major goals that we should be able to accomplish.
Yeah, directors and investors and other stakeholders in companies should feel comfortable coming to us and should see us as a source of, quality knowledge and advice. So,
Yes.
no, definitely. Yeah.
So we do have a few projects in the works that are now beginning to germinate that would allow us to do many of the things that would establish us as the authority for corporate governance in the region. And I look forward to working with a number of people who have reached out to us saying that they want to contribute to the continued growth of CCGI because they like what we do. So,
Right.
that's something that I look forward to.
Good. So do I, quite frankly.
So, Nigel, I would want to think that as you reflect on the contribution you have made over the last 12 years, that you are very happy with it, and that you would be able to join me in what I think is going to be our most challenging effort. And that is for us to truly impact governance practices.
Mm.
First, to evaluate how we do it, first, to measure it and for us to
Yeah.
collect a level of data that allows all of us in the region to be able to rely on it and to make decisions in a way that demonstrates we are moving in a positive direction.
Yeah, and make those decisions transparently, and understandably so that people there are no ifs, buts, or maybes about why we have decided what we have decided. So I think that's very, very important.
I think what makes all of this so much easier is I believe people in the region, most of us, want to see improvement. We want
Mhm.
to do good. And that is what makes it possible for us to achieve a lot of what we do. And that is what, makes me an eternal optimist that regardless of the challenges we face, the long hours we have to put in the end, it's worth it because it is the outcome that we all want. So I'll give you the last 2 minutes to wrap up your thoughts on possibly, what your vision, your expectations are for what we do moving forward.
Well, I mean, for me, the governance is critical to the success of organizations, both for profit and not for profit.
Mhm.
And the guidance we provide, the training we provide, the forums we facilitate for the um, dissemination of information and cutting edge information at that is one reason why members benefit and why we want to attract more members. That whole focus on purpose,
Mhm.
the whole focus on creating value for customers while ensuring that you capture value to continue to grow the organization is critical for the understanding of good governance. And today, where there are so many uh, forces pulling and tugging, it's even more important that organizations are very clear about why they exist and the values that guide how they deliver what they deliver. So, I think we have a very, very important role to play. And I look forward to working with you as you continue to fulfill that mandate. So
Thank
happy
you.
birthday.
Yes, thank you very much, Nigel. So, as we celebrate our 12th birthday today, we acknowledge again our founding directors, Dr. Axel Kravitsky, the founding chairman of this institute, Dr. Annette Rahal, Leslie Clark, Ronnie Bisassa, SC, our current chairman, Nigel Romano. And I also want to thank my children, who were the backbone of this whole institute as I got started. Amber de Silva, who not only was my right hand, but continues to be my right hand and sounding board for a lot of what we do with the institute. Quantrell de Silva, and Quantrell is my maths guy. He's the one who helps me with the budget and prepares a lot of the documents that has to go before the board. And I also thank Darian De Silva. Darian has been our video editor, who has been taking a lot of the recordings for our panel discussions and conferences. And today our YouTube channel has 100 plus videos that persons can benefit from all of the discussions that have gone on in the past. I really am blessed with wonderful children, and I am so thankful for them. And the fact that they have allowed me to thrive and to help CCGI to thrive so that we can sit and enjoy today and we could plan for another 12 years ahead. Thank you all. Have a happy birthday to all of us here at CCGI. And we look forward to another Governance Live with you all soon. Bye now.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.